Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of BrickStory. So in this series of video, I will be inviting the AFOL from different places to come over and share with us about their AFOL journey, some of their MOC experience, and also the technique that they use for their MOC, as well as some story behind the scene that they build their great story. So today we are glad to have this guy, which is a very great MOC, and I came across with his account in Flickr. His account name is known as Know Your Pieces. So welcome Huang on this. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us for this. So maybe you can give us a little bit of introduction about yourself. Where do you come from, and how do you start your AFOL journey?
Hi, my name is Huang. I'm from Hanoi, Vietnam, the capital. So I started with Lego when I was about 4 years old, when my grandma bought me the first set, which is a pirate set. I lost it, but then recently I had to go on Bricklink and bought it again so I can have it as a memory sake piece. And then after that, I was lucky enough to be in a position where my parent would sometimes buy me sets so I can like mix them all together and create something that I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But later on, in around 2004, I think I kind of started to phase out playing with Lego because, that's kind of like an age where, it's kind of old and kind of odd for, a teenager or a young adult to play with Lego.
Yeah.
But after that, I went to school, and then I actually went to design school. So it came back to me when I was like doing my homework in school. I used Lego as one of the a medium to explain some of the theory that I had. So that came back to me that it's kind of like very useful to have. So I started coming back with Lego at that point in around 2009, 2008. And since then, I've been creating Lego pieces of my own, MOCs. I bought sets just to get the pieces and so on. And today I have a room full of pieces here so I can create my own stuff.
Yes, we can see from the screen right now, you can see tons of bricks behind you. I think a lot of people will envy to have this kind of bricks storage that you have.
Thank you. It's a lot of times and money and, effort to sort them out.
Yeah. So after you get started to evolve in MOC, then are you getting active in the social media like Flickr, Facebook, or somewhere else?
I actually just recently got very active on social media. Since 2015, I started on Flickr, I think, when I just posted stuff there. With my most of my other stuff, I would just keep it on my computer because I thought it wasn't that great to show. But when I started to have some ideas of my own that I'm kind of proud of, and I started posting them, started on Flickr in 2015 or somewhere like that, and then recently last year I opened an Instagram account. I didn't know about Instagram until recently. It's crazy. But
Okay.
yeah, Facebook is a good place too because most of my Vietnamese communities hang out on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So I usually share on a local Facebook group.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's about it.
Oh, I see. Okay. So how's your friends and family think about you as an AFOL?
I mean, I think my family started to get, to understand, like, this is not something that is going to go away. You kind of have to accept it in a way, but I think they understand that, like, this is something that I'm kind of passionate about and serious about. So I think they're totally happy because I'm trying to have fun and also try to create something out of all these pieces that I have.
Mm-hmm. How long did you spend your time to MOC?
on average, or
just on average?
on average. Oh, I usually take my sweet time.
Okay.
Some pieces would take me like 6 months. One took me a year. Some I try to do a quick build. Maybe around a week. I usually, the fastest I could do maybe a week, because if I do it too fast, then I wouldn't be able to find the right pieces and all that stuff. And because of the nature of getting the pieces to me, being in Southeast Asia, it's kind of tricky, right? Because when I have to order from Bricklink, it takes a long time to get here. So every time I build something, I have to wait 3 weeks for the pieces to arrive. And then I had to remember what I was doing at the time, and then just try to restart again. That just takes more time. So usually, I have to wait a long time to get a MOC finished.
Yeah, for
That's
us staying in Southeast Asia, it takes a little bit of time for the shipments for a seller to ship to us, especially those from the Europe and the US. All right.
Yeah.
So, are you more to a mocker or a collector, or you do both sides?
I would consider myself both. I like buying sets, but I don't enjoy building sets as much as I used to be. I used to love building set based on the instruction, because to me that's you just don't have to think about anything, and that just take the stress out of the day. But recently, because of the time constraint, I try to spend more time building my own MOCs. So all the sets I buy, I collect and just keep them, in the closet and in the spare room that I have, and don't open them.
Okay, like the one that we see in the photo, those are all still unboxed, right?
Yeah, the photo number 1 I sent you is so that's the spare room that I have. I try to keep them off the ground and store them. Maybe someday I would open them. Try not to sell them, but I would keeping them there and seeing that I actually have something that I could go in and look at. It's fun enough, I guess.
Okay. So, what do you think? What made you so obsessed into the bricks?
Because I could use it as like a medium to express what I want to say without having to say it. Because usually my build are kind of like inspired by the culture and the scenery of where I'm from. So it's kind of like creating art in a way.
Okay, good. How do you keep all your bricks and sets right now?
I have this room. I can show you around. Okay. This is my build room. This is where I set up my pieces, all sorted by color and by type. So each of these, I can show you. For example, this tray is one of them. This is the slope tray. And I have, a whole side of slope, a whole side of pieces like flat tile. I have specialized pieces. And then I have, on the bottom here, I have trays of, all the colors, smaller pieces. So I have like a sort of a 3 different system to sort the pieces. In terms of sets, I have like another spare room that my wife let me use.
It's great to hear that.
I keep all the new seal sets in there. And I have closet. Some of them are under the couches, anywhere that I could find place. Really.
I see. Okay, so most of them, mostly where do you get your bricks or sets from?
So we have sort of a Toys R Us type of store in Vietnam. They're pretty big, and they sell Lego. So we could get Lego there, but they on the more expensive side. So myself and my friends also, we want to wait until they have like a clearance sale, or at least like 50% sale. So we can get a sort of like a more affordable price. Other than that, I use Bricklink for my pieces. As I said, like getting Bricklink here is quite tricky. Usually, what I do is I ship Bricklink order to my friend's address in the US, and then he'll ship it back to me. It actually makes it cheaper to ship it like that, which is that also add up more time in terms of getting the pieces that I want. And sometimes I would buy bulk sets from friends or people that want to get rid of their collection, and that way I would have to like sort out myself. For example, like I have a lot of these kind of bins in here to kind of like store my unsorted pieces.
I also have plenty of boxes like this, unsorted pieces.
I'm sure this is the problem for anyone who makes MOCs.
Yeah.
Sorting the
Yeah. So, probably can you share with us where did you get your inspirations from to build your MOC?
Yeah. So, like I said, I want to express where I'm come from and like what inspired me as a designer or as an artist. So I would take inspiration from the surrounding city landscape, the objects that speaks Vietnamese as a whole. For example, some of them I can show you on the pieces that I did, on the MOC that I did. And I tried to bring a little bit of my culture to showcase for the community around the world. And I think for a Southeast Asian nation to have somebody to represent them, I think it's great. For my country, we don't have a strong Lego based community yet, so I want to be able to show what we're capable of and what our culture is.
Yeah, good to hear that. I think you are definitely capable to do that. So it's just that you have to try to inspire and influence more and more Vietnamese people to join you to bring up the community.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so do you have some words to describe your building style and techniques that you use mostly?
Yeah, in terms of style, I would, Vietnam is famous for its colonial architecture. It's well known around the world. And because it's built 100 years ago, people live generation and generation through in the city. So they kind of like use those building on their own way. It's kind of like you take something very expensive and luxurious, but you give it to the people, to maybe someone that don't have share the same background, so they use it a different way. So there's like a mixed match of the culture there. I'm sure you can find it in most of Asian country, but it's really strong here. So in terms of style, I try to stick with that. You can kind of see my build. It's something between like a Parisian architecture, but then there's a strong influence of like a Asian gritty cultural very lived in there.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of techniques that I try to use. Basic technique is snots, right? Stud knot on top. For example, I'm trying to work with like this is the lettering signs, and this is on the back of it. So I use a lot of the headlight piece, which is one of my favorite, which is this little guy here.
Yeah,
I use a lot of these to create sort of a texture, and then the lettering on the side. And most of them are surrounding by that kind of techniques. And I also have this one, which is I'm working on still.
Wow.
This is I try to create like a wall, like a broken wall technique. And then some of them are still under construction, but on the back here you can kind of see it's quite messy. But the point is, I try to create the texture on here. Try to different way of offsetting the piece, and then build them on the sides.
Do you keep most of your MOC still, or you will dismantle it?
Yeah. I keep maybe around 80% of what I built. Some of them I give away to my families. Some of them are packed in boxes. Yeah. And hopefully one day I can have them all sitting in one room, maybe to show everybody. But
yeah,
I don't know when.
I think you definitely need a very spacious space to display all.
Yeah. That's also a problem, space.
Okay, we can move on to talk more about your MOC in more details.
Sure, yes.
Okay, so maybe we can go to the first MOC that you would like to talk about, which is the fishing boat. Yep.
So this is I built in 2014. Now this one is special because this is when I started to get serious about creating original work with Lego. So this one
is this the first one that you built?
Not the first one. I built many other boats before, but this one I think it captured the essence of the Vietnamese fishing boat. Like the techniques I use on the body of the boat, the hull. It's like it's curvy, so it's not blocky as Lego. Which this is I use a legal building technique where I would do something like this. So I use tile, and then just kind of like connect them, like make a long connection there, and then by its own weight, you can kind of see it bending. So I kind of use that kind of like natural gravity bend to create that boat for the hull. The color back in 2014, that color was quite expensive. When it just came out. Friends line, that's like a different blue than the regular blue. So getting those pieces was quite pricey at that time, and now I can recall that boat. After I finished it, I posted on Flickr, and it actually I got contacted by a guy from the Netherlands, and he wanted to use that boat for his book. It is called The Art of Building Lego. The Art of Modeling Lego, I think. It's I could send you the title later, I think.
Yeah, okay,
but it's
sure.
Also in the book. Yeah.
So we need to say that this MOC is published in the book?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
want to keep it. Then when I ship it from home to home, it got broken. So there it went.
Okay. So maybe we can move on to the next one.
Sure. Yes. Let's move on to the next one. Okay. So after I had that boat and it was broken, and I was like quite sad because I was so proud of it. So and then I was like, okay, yeah, I could use the same techniques, but on a smaller scale. Let's try to do a Minifig scale version of that. So this is what came out of that idea. All the pieces here are actually from that previous one, but it's just a lot smaller now. I still have this one. Yeah, I still have this one, but not with me. I gave it to my parents. Yeah, so this is 2015 that I did this. Back then, I didn't have a lot of time. I didn't dedicated a lot of time to build Lego. Maybe just like a few hours a week. So this is actually one of the smaller ones I did.
Yeah. Okay. And then move on to the next one.
Yeah. This number 6.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. This is the sailboat. I was really quite upset with boats back in 2015. I don't know. Like I figured out the way to do the bendy hole shapes, and I quite obsessed with how it turns out. So I tried to do a different scale with it. This one is actually very, very big. I think it's like almost 2 meters long.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, I think about 1.9 meters long. It's quite big, and it took me a long time. Some of the pieces, like for example, the white bottom part, I had to buy like 150 Chima sets. Do you remember the Chima pool wheelie thingy for the kids?
Yeah.
One of them has like like this piece that works well with my curve, and like each set would have 2 of them, so I bought 150. You get 300 pieces of those white set curvy part. And I use them for the bottom there. I still have the box of unsorted pieces left from the batch. Right now.
So what is the most challenging part for this MOC to be built?
Yeah, I would say that bottom part, the white bottom part, because that part is really hard to find. And back then, the brickling would take a long time for me to get it, and I have to go to many different stores to get the amount I want. So just to get it faster and quicker and maybe even cheaper, I just get the Chima sets. The sail is it's a cloth. I kind of custom build it.
Is it a cloth or a paper? It's a cloth.
It's a cloth, yeah.
Okay. Okay. And I noticed the stand, you built the stand as well.
Yes, the stand, it's a technique style beam, so that way it's quite heavy, so it had to support the whole weight.
When you started to build this, do you anticipate that you were building this big and you will need a stand for it?
Yeah, like the stand has to build alongside with the boat. The stand actually go all the way up into the main structure. The stand doesn't stay on the body. The stand is the structure. The structure should extend out to be the stand.
Okay.
Or else it's gonna break.
I see. Okay. Yeah. Good. Yeah, I think we can move on to the one that caught my eye from the flickers.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So this one, um, now this one I started in 2018.
Mm.
No, 2000. Yeah, 2018. Yeah. About summer 2018, and finished it last Christmas. So it took me like more than a year.
More than a year to complete it.
Yeah.
Wow, but I think the effort is worth it because everyone who's seeing these photos, it will surely give a big wow on it.
Thank
So
you.
so guide us through on this MOC.
Sure. So as I talk about the technique for the hole, this is what I used to do, which is kind of like bend the brick, which is sort of a illegal way to do things.
Mm-hmm.
I try to stay away from illegal building techniques nowadays, and I try to constrain myself into what a basic legal designer would do, like not trying to bend the brick, not trying to cut the brick, don't use glue, all that stuff. So I try to come up with something better to build the bend, curve, or compound shape, natural curve of the hole. And just recently, Lego came out with this type of bricks. This is like a ball joint.
Yes. Mm.
And this is from the Mixel line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now, just recently, this is possible for me because I can buy a bunch of these and connect them into a long string, and then just slightly turn them one by one. Maybe 1 degree, and then I have a curve.
Mm.
So, and then on the sides here, it has like studs. So I would have face it this way as the side, and then I would just have studs latching on here, tile latching on the studs here. So that's how I create the hole. This is the first time I show anyone how I do it. Everybody on Flickr asks, how you do this, and is it glue or is it what? And and that's how this is what I use. Not everybody know. They can try to figure out. I think it's not too hard really.
Yeah. So it's grateful that everyone who watching this get to know about this right now.
The tricky part, the hardest part for this model is to build the ocean.
Yeah. Yes.
It took me a long time to build the oceans.
Okay, before we go to the build of the ocean, how you came out the idea to build this?
Now, as I told you, I broke my the MOC that I was so proud of, right? I broke it, so I always wanted to do something again like that, but maybe a little bit more color. Maybe it has a background, like a stand, something like that. Also, try to do like more like a true to scale in a way. Like I use the technique figure. It's like a taller figure.
Yeah.
So I tried to build around that scale. And the previous one wasn't that close, but this one is actually bigger, a little bit bigger. And I think it's closer to that scale. And I tried to use some of the more detailed stuff, for example, like the hanging clothes, the chair, and all that stuff. Try to give it more life. And then now that I have more pieces than before, I could have more freedom to do something more realistic and more of I would say more Vietnamese than the previous one, because this one not only has the flag, but like people actually live here, and you can see on the boat, people dry hanging their clothes, and they have their pets with them in there, and so that's the story about it.
Okay.
Behind the
how about the oceans part? How you came out the idea to make that nicely curve?
I always wanted to do different water techniques. So I tried to come up with new techniques when I tried to build my different MOCs. On this one, I was quite satisfied with the new technique for the boat hole. But then when it sits on the table, the boat, it just, it's missing something. So the boat is always on the water, and I want to create a flowy water. And I don't want to do a pouring of little pieces, as you can see many times before. And I don't want to build something that's too blocky, right? So I try to come up with something you can kind of see through, kind of transparent. Also quite thick in a way, because you don't want to have an ocean that doesn't have weight. An ocean always have to have show the true nature of the ocean, which is massive and very deep and very impressive. So I want to have a very thick base. At the same time, I don't want to use too many bricks. So that's what I bought. That's why I bought the little antenna pieces. They're quite affordable, actually. It's just, sticking them on the platform one by one. It's just really painful.
Yeah, I think later we have a little bit more details on the oceans part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But how?
Right,
so meaning to say that you build the boat first, and then only you think about you need to have something to come along with this boat. Then only you create the oceans on below it.
Yes, for this build, actually, yes. I didn't want to build the ocean at first, but then the more I look at it as the boat is sitting on the table, it just needs an ocean. So that's why I spent another half year to build the ocean.
Okay, yeah, great. So I think we can see a little bit more details inside this boat.
Sure, yes. Okay. So the first picture I started with the cabin. Now, to create the colorful size, and between the two color, the light blue, medium azure blue, and white, that's like the very iconic color for the Vietnamese fishing boat. So I don't keep that color. I don't want to stay too far from it. Maybe add some accent color, like a different blue or a different red, something like that. But I want the main color to be medium azure blue, which I still have a lot because of the other boat. And then try to use white. Now this is the main structure for the cabin. The inside quite messy, but you can kind of see I use a lot of stud on the sides. I use the window pieces, and then I built the graphic to fit inside the window pieces. And then some angle hinge pieces. I built sideways a lot. Some people would build top on top and stacking. But sometimes I would build on the sides. For example, here on the window here, you can kind of see it's like a sideway window. So to create something that people are not really familiar with in terms of pieces usage.
So we can see you are quite creative to create the things that you want here. Okay, then I think the next photo we can see a more complete boat shape together with the cabin on top.
Yes. So the next three photos I could do together because they kind of see the behind the scenes. This is actually I started in my old apartment. Table here is this is a different room that I used to work in. Back then I didn't have the setup that I have right now. I use a container there, and quite a pain to kind of pick out the pieces from all those stacking boxes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the hole after I put it together the first time. You can kind of see that curved shape. Um, I use a lot of tiles. One by two flat tile, not this color but different one, and then 1x4 flat tiles, and then I use one of my other favorite pieces is that all these curved bricks, very useful to create round shapes. This one also, you can kind of see I use them on the corner of the cabins. And then on the red and yellow stripe, it's this type of bricks. It's a curve, 1x2.
1x2. Yeah.
I use that to finish up the edge, make it a final finish curve.
Yeah, I think you make the boat is not so edgy, right?
Yeah, it's not so edgy. That's why I try to accomplish. You can see the boat has painted eyes. The fishing boat always have the two eyes on the side, kind of like you see on the boat. It's kind of have a face. I try to brick build that eyes with some of the wheel arch from the city line, the white wheel arch from the city line, and then black eyes in there. To create the brick build look. I think the fishermen call it like the eye will see through the storms or something like that. To get
Okay.
Yeah.
And then next one, we can see the details of the ocean.
Yes. So this is the ocean work in progress. Now this one is a mistake build that I did.
Okay.
As you can see, the antenna, they're upside down, right? Yeah, because I thought maybe when I do it the right way, it's very spiky when I do it the right way. When I just put the antenna stick on the platform, it's not something that you can tell that's an ocean because it's like spike. So I flip it. So I use the bottom, but the bottom a little bit larger and rounder, so you can kind of create sort of like a smoother look. And for that reason, I bought a bunch of those the cone 1x1 brick that has a hole.
Yeah. Just to have the antenna stick on it.
Just to stick the antenna upside down on them.
Okay.
And actually, you can kind of see here, I kind of map out the black one inside, and then the color one, I kind of want to have an LED light in there and kind of show you like the inner of the ocean when I plug in the light. But it was too ambitious. I didn't know how to do that. So I was like, I'm not going to do that. But the ocean is a failure. I finished halfway.
Okay.
Halfway through this, I took a picture and I posted on Flickr. And some guy was commenting on it and be like, yeah, the idea of the antenna is good, but maybe it's not smooth. So I'm like, man, he just said what I was thinking of. Not redo again. So I was like, I had to take out all those antenna, unplug them, and then flip them, put them the right side up again. And then what I did is that I used this Technic pin, kind of like I used the Technic pin to have a stud on it, and then I use this kind of stud, but the clear color to put on top of the antenna to keep it more translucent feel, as you can see on the final picture. And that's just another months or 2 months went by and for that ocean. It's too much time.
But I think all the efforts is worth on spending this.
Yeah. So, for example, this is one of the units.
Ah.
This is one. Well, this one I use the cone, but some of them I use the cone because I ran out of the Technic pen.
Mm-hmm.
But you get the idea.
Mm-hmm.
The Technic pen is slightly cheaper than the cone, so I want to use the Technic pen.
Okay.
But I have about I would say 7,000 of those units. So each of them I had to hand build 7,000 of them, stick 7,000 units combination on the platform. So yeah, that was a lot of work.
So when you want to build the curvy or the wavy shapes, you construct it at the very base layers, correct? So which means that at the very base layer you have already formed the wave nicely. So along the way, do you do a lot of adjustment here and there in order to get the very really nice wave shape?
Now the beauty with using this kind of combinations,
you can adjust the height.
You can adjust the height. Exactly, you can adjust the height. You can slightly push it in, and it's a lot taller, and then you can push all the way back. It just turned out to be fine. So you can kind of create like a smoother shape with this.
So meaning after you build it, you still can have you use the hand to press it to get a really nice form.
Yeah.
But
when you press it all the way down, you have to rebuild it. You can't.
Yeah, it's true. I think you just invented another way to build the oceans for the AFOL.
Hopefully somebody tried to replicate this. It's going to take a lot of effort.
Yeah, it's fantastic, really. So I hope you still keep this MOC right now.
Yes, I still have this, and actually, someone in Korea wants to buy this, and I was gonna go and fly to Korea to deliver it, but because of the coronavirus, I couldn't go.
Okay.
Hopefully, when it's over, maybe summer or something, I could fly to Korea and deliver it.
So meaning you guys already make the deal and you were going to ship it over to him?
Yeah, everything is final. Everything is finalized, and I got my visa and everything. And on the same day, I got my my visa on the mail. The coronavirus broke out and the country closed. So since then, there's no more progress on that. Hopefully, after this is all over, I can continue.
Okay, I see. Yeah, I think thanks for your great sharing on this MOC. I think we can move on to the next one, which is also a fantastic build.